Hello, hello, and the topic of the day is optimism. So I just had a discussion with a dear friend about optimism and about our approach to the world and to optimism. And I think there are multiple ways to think about it, but the two important ones is about the reality and about our attitude. So let's start with reality. Is the world more good or more bad? How do we think? What is the world? And my view in general, it varies, is that the world is more good than bad, but bad has more power than good people. In the same way, you could have a pool of water and one kid in the summer goes with the diaper leaks, it pollutes the whole pool. People with bad intention can create a disproportional effect compared to people with good intentions. Now, I think we are overly scared and so on, but if you ask what is the world like, I think the world has more good people than bad people, dramatically more, but I think that bad people have sadly disproportionate power. So, it's an open question of whether the world is more good than bad. I lean toward the good, but I do understand that there are bad people. I understand that they have disproportional power. That's the first part of the conversation. What is the state of the world? But when I talk to Moshe about this, we recognize that the question is not just about being objective. Okay, so here's a way to ask: would you like to perceive the world in an accurate way? Imagine the world is 75% good and 25% bad. Do you want to have a perception of the world that is accurate? No. If you have a perception of the world that is not accurate, and you overemphasize the bad, you think the bad is not 25%, but it's 70%, it's going to paralyze you. If you think that if you're going to be inaccurate and perceive the world is not 75% good, but 95% good, you'll do lots of things and you'll fail, and you'll fail more. So now the question is, do we want to perceive the world accurately? Do we want to perceive it as too positive, or do we want to perceive it as too negative? And both Moshe and I concluded that we want to experience the world as being more positive than it is. We say, look, the energy you need to get out to the world and do things depend on your optimism. Optimism is not just a description of the world, it's a state of mind. And if you're more optimistic and you're more positive, you'll try more things. Now, you'll also fail more, but you'll also succeed more. So the notion that we got to is that, yes, the world, more bad, more good. Let's agree for now that it's more good than bad, but there's lots of bad out there. But that we want to adopt a perspective of being overly optimism. It's kind of strange to say we want to come to the world with a biased view of the world, because we want to influence our own motivation and our own willingness to act. And when we believe that the world is more positive than it really is, we have more energy to try new things. It also means that we will encounter negative things, and that leads us to the last question. How do we judge life? How do we judge our own lives? Do we judge it by the number of things we looked at the world and decided not to do anything? Do we judge it by the number of things we do and fail? Or do we judge it by the number of things we do and succeed? And I think we judge it by the number of things we do and succeed. Every time we have a positive influence, that's what makes our life. Now, when I look back at my life, I remember the things I managed to do. Do I remember my failure, my mishaps, my mistakes? A little bit, but not really. If I try to make a list of all the things I'm proud of, it'll be quite easy. If I try to make the things I'm regretting, it will take much, much more time. So what is the conclusion? Is the world good or bad? I don't know. But I do know that for me, a good life means having the energy to try more things, having memory problems so that I don't remember the failures as much and I remember successes to a higher degree. So I'm basically in favor of over-optimism and bad memory. I think that's the conclusion here. But seriously, I think that we eventually judge our lives by the things that we manage. And I think that over-optimism is the engine that allows us to try more things. So, through over-optimism and mediocre memory that doesn't allow us to dwell too much on our failures. To all of us, to over-optimism. Bye.